Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is No Saint Left Behind once again, coming to you with another lesson. I pray that it be edifying. I'm Brother Zahar. And first I just want to start off with giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rikar Kwadash, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akims out there that's been faithful to this word and that's rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability, man. Shalom. So, I'm coming to you with a lesson that I pray that you be edified through this lesson. And this lesson is going to be about, letting the commandments and the law of the Most High, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, be a lamp unto your path. Be the light that you need in this world. This world is full of darkness today, and it's been full of darkness. That's why we're waiting on Yahweh Shai, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, to come back and to redeem you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But while we're in the midst of that waiting, we need a lamp or a light to walk through the darkness, man. You ever been caught up in going down the street and ain't no street lights on the street, and you walking or you can't see nothing, so you need a light. You ever went into a dark room and you bumped into different things because there wasn't no light? You bumping into those different things are the obstacles that's in your way because you don't have a light to guide you. You know what I'm saying? That's your drug abuse. Those obstacles are your adulteries, your fornications, serving different gods, being in Christianity and Islam. So you need a light to guide you through life. And that light is the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, which is the commandments. The commandment is the light in the life that you need to live in this society. So we're going to get into that right today. And first I'm going to start in Baruch, which is in the Apocrypha. If you got you a 1611 King James, Baruch will be right there in the 1611 King James. So it's in between Malachi and Matthews. That's where your Apocrypha will be. Matter of fact, let me give me 1 second. Let me read Baruch. Baruch chapter 4, and I'm going to start at chapter 4, verse 1. And it reads, This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh. So the Bible says that this is the book, this 1611 King James. This is the book, and that's a very bold statement. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, of the commandments of our power, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So this book is not for religion. This book has never been for religion. This book is a light. This is a flashlight. This is the spirit that you need to guide you through this darkness. When the word says, although I walk through the valley of the shadow of darkness, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thou rod and thou staff, thou comfort me. That's talking about this word. Because America is the valley of the shadow of death. And the only way you can walk through this America, which is Babylon the Great, this valley of shadow of death, is by having this lamp. Because this Bible, this commandment and law of the Most High Yahweh is going to guide you through this valley of the shadow of death. That's why you're not going to fear no evil, because the Bible says that the angels encamp around those that fear Yahweh. So once you fear him, how you show that you fear him? By rehearsing his law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. I know we are delivered and saved by grace. Just because we are saved by grace, do that mean that we continue on in sin? No. We got to apply this word. We got to keep what we can keep. You don't got to eat pork. You can keep that. You ain't got to eat shrimp, lobster, crab, duck, frog, rabbit, squirrel. You don't got to eat those things, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to get a line up. So you can keep those things. You ain't got to cut your head bald. You ain't got to try to sleep with this man's wife. So these laws and commandments, that light you can keep. So you got to keep the things that you can keep. You got to rehearse them to the best of your ability. Even though the words say, though, a righteous man falleth 7 times, but he gets back up, which means you're going to have shortcomings. You're going to stumble and fall. You're not going to be Yahweh Shai. You're not going to be that perfect. But he said, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. So being perfect is being obedient to the Most High and rehearsing His law, statutes, commandments. That's going to be your guide through life. That's going to be your protection. You know, He said salvation is given to those who endure unto the end. So you got to rehearse these law, statutes, commandments until He comes. And then you will be delivered. Let's continue on, though. It says, Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, in the law that endure forever. See, the Bible said that the word says that the law of the Most High, the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, it says that it endured forever. That's what it says. That's what it says in Baruch. It says the law. Let me read that again. Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endured forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So the Bible is telling you that the commandments, the law that the Most High gave us, you know, it endured forever. So that lets you, when the teacher in the church that the law, statutes, commandments is done away with, you ought to know that line, because the Bible said that the law endured forever. So that means you got to still rehearse them, because we have the only reason Yahweh Shai came to redeem us, to give us a grace that if you commit adultery, you don't get put to death right away. You know, you have a chance to repent, to come back and get it right. So you're not up under the penalty of the law. You know, because you got certain sins that it means immediate death. But you still must rehearse the law to the best of your ability. Okay, let's go to, matter of fact, let's go to Matthews and see what Yahweh Shai said about the law. This light, this life, which is the word of the Most High, these law, statutes, and commandments. We're going to go to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. And it reads, think not that I am come to destroy the law. And this is in red writing too. You see that? That's in red writing. Yahweh Shai said, think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. What do you mean? He came to fulfill the sacrificial part of the law, because we don't have a temple now, so we can't do sacrifices. Because he said that the temple was going to be torn down. When he was crucified, the veil was rent from the top to the bottom. So the temple, the sacrificial part of the law, we don't have to practice that, because we don't got no temple. The Edomites, the so-called white man, is in our land over in Israel, so we can't take pilgrims to our land to do a sacrifice. So that's the only thing that we don't have to do, but we still must rehearse the rest of the law to the best of our ability. See, let me read that again. Matthew 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. He came to fulfill what all the prophets prophesied about him. He came to do what Moses, Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Jeremiah, all the prophets said that he was going to do. Verse 18, Matthew 5 and 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. And we see right now, well, you can see those clouds where it's raining. You know, it's been raining, pouring down off and on, but you can see those clouds, and you can see that heaven and earth haven't passed. So that lets you know that we still must rehearse these law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability. You know, he said one jot or one tittle. So that means none of it is done away with, man. None of the law, statutes, commandments is done away with. So we must continue to rehearse these law, statutes, commandments. I don't care what the church is teaching you. The church is teaching you a lie. They teach you that the commandments and the law was done away with. Only thing you got to keep is tithes. They a lie. They teaching you to be put to death. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. Let me find something right quick. Let me show you what Yahweh Shai said. 1 second. Let me get this right here. One tree. I'm gonna show you what he said that what he was gonna do when he returned, when he catch you eating pork and those things, shrimp and lobster and all these things. Let me show you. Give me 1 second. Uh, 1 second, people. Let me get this right quick. Isaiah 66 and 17. Where you at, Isaiah? 66 and 17. And this is what it reads. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh. What's swine's flesh? That's anything that got to do with pork. Anything that have gelatin in it. You know, you got different types of gelatin. You got veggie gelatin, beef gelatin, but anything that have swine or pork gelatin in it, gummy bears, marshmallows, pork chop, bacon. This is what it says now. Isaiah 66 and verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, in the abominations, in the mouth shall be consumed together, said Yahweh. So he ain't only talking about swine. He said in the abominations. That means all the foods he told you don't eat. And then it went on to say in the mouse. Why it says in the mouse? Because a lot of y'all like to eat Chinese and Japanese food. And they got nothing but mouse, rats in their food. Rats and dogs and all this in their food. So you're going to be put to death for that as well. But let me show you I'm going to have to go up and read more. Hold on. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah 66 and 15. Let me start there and show you what he's really saying. Isaiah 66 and 15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire and whip his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So the Most High is coming with what you call so-called UFOs, we know as IFOs, these chariots of Israel in the whirlwind. So that means he's coming. It's going to be plenty of them. He's coming quick. And he says, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So he's coming to put you to death in fire, with laser beams coming from those so-called UFOs, those chariots, and with these nuclear missiles that these other countries are going to shoot on America. That's a part of the Most High Yahweh's fire. And he's going to put you to death for eating these unclean foods willfully. Verse 16, for by fire and by his sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. So he said he's going to plead with all flesh with fire and by his sword. So it's going to be fire coming from those chariots of Israel, what you call UFOs, and it's going to be fires coming from these other countries, what you call nuclear missiles. And he's going to burn you and put you to death. Why? Verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden, those people in the church talking about they holy, they holier than thou. They can as long as they pray over the pork or the ham or the rat or the Chinese or Japanese food or the frog legs or the possum and squirrel and rabbit. Read verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind a tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abominations in their mouth shall be consumed together, said the Lord. So the Most High said, if you're not rehearsing his law, statutes, commandments, you still want to eat these unclean foods and commit adultery. Man trying to sleep with other men's women and women jumping from penis to penis. The Most High said he's going to consume you with fire. He's going to put you all to death. So we got to rehearse this law, statutes, commandments, because the law is life, man. Once you begin to rehearse these law, statutes, commandments, you begin to gain life in your body, man. Your eyes begin to open to things that never opened to. You begin to understand this word. I didn't understand the word at all until I began to rehearse these law, statutes, commandments to the best of my ability. And then it just started coming to me. The Spirit started dealing with me, because the Bible said, defile not thou temple. When you eating pork and swine and, committing adultery and smoking weed and crack and all that, you defiling your temple, man. So the Spirit of the Most High can't dwell in you. But when you rehearsing these laws, statutes, commandments, and not defile your temple, the Spirit dwells in you and is giving you life in a light so that you can go through life. And that life is going to be so Yahweh Shai, when he come back, he can redeem you and you'll be caught up in the chariots. All right, so let's continue to read back in Matthew 5, and I'm going to go to verse 19. I'm going to start back at verse 18, 5 and 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So these pastors and all you niggas and niggettes that's running around here telling people they ain't got to keep the law, statutes, commandments, you're going to be called least in the kingdom of heaven. And the ones of us that's out here on these highways and byways and that's telling you that you must rehearse these law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability, if we do it to the end, we're going to be called mighty or great in the kingdom of heaven. Verse 20, for I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. And what it mean by that is that the scribes and Pharisees, so you got to know what they was doing. They was telling people to keep the law, but they weren't keeping the law. They'll do the things of the law in front of you, but when you're not around, they're not doing the things what the law said. They're doing what they want to do. Like what these pastors and everybody else is doing in these churches. They doing what the hell they want to do in these churches, man. Salakia for my language. But they doing what they want to do in these churches. They're not rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments. And then you got some man pleasers. Depends on who around them. And then they're going to be on their best behavior. But once they leave, like the scribes and Pharisees, they back to their evil ways, man. They back to doing what they want to do. They no longer serving the Most High. You got people that only serve the Most High in front of you. They don't serve him when you're not around. Those called man pleasers. Those are the lukewarmers. They're going to be put to death too as well. All right. And matter of fact, let's go to, let me see. Let's go to 1 John. Let me show you something in 1 John right quick. 1 John 5 and 3. 1 John 5 and 3 reads, for this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. See, the only way you can love the Most High, Yahweh, and his son, Yahweh Shai, is by keeping the commandments. You got to rehearse these law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. That's how you show the Father you love him, man. Faith without works is dead. Your works is rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments, man. Like what I was reading to you, what I was reading last week. 2 weeks ago. I think it was Matthew 11 and 16. Matter of fact, let's get it right quick and we'll go back. Matthew 11 and 16. And it reads, but whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets, and children and calling unto their fellows. Verse 17, this is the point. And saying, we have piped unto you, and you have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lament. So we are piping unto you. That means we're bringing the word out. We're telling you what the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah said you need to do. You need to rehearse these law, statutes, commandments. So that's when the Bible says don't only be hearers of the word, but doers of the word. We have piped unto you, but you have not danced. You ever been to the club and they playing some great music, and you got 300 people in a club that only holds 150. You got double the people now. And everybody just in the club just standing around the wall. But the DJ is playing some fly music. But everybody just chilling. So they're really not partying. They're chilling. They're not partying. But when the DJ playing the music and the music get in their spirit and then they begin to dance and groove, they begin to do their thing, now they partying. Now they're piping. Now they're dancing unto the songs that's been piped. So that's all the Most High saying. The Most High saying when you read this word, You know, or when one of the men of the Most High tells you that you are going wrong, that doesn't line up with the word, you need to rehearse these laws, statutes, commandments. He said, well, you need to dance unto that tune. You know, you need to do those things. You need to rehearse these laws, statutes, commandments so that you can show me that you love me. That's the only way you can show Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah that you love him, by keeping these laws, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. Let me read that again. 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. The reason why his commandments are not grievous is because if you're struggling with something, you still have grace. Yahweh Shai, as long as you praying about it, the Most High, through his son Yahweh Shai, is going to give you the strength to be delivered from it. You know, you're not going to be put to death for it because you have grace and you're trying. You're literally trying with, you know, with all faithfulness. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to do what the Most High actually do. So it's not grievous, man, because we have grace. But you must rehearse these laws, statutes, commandments. And now let me take you to 2 John verse 6. And it says, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye shall walk in it. So the commandments that Moses gave us through the Most High, that the Most High Yahweh gave us through Moses, his servant, one of our saviors, that delivered us out of, that he used to deliver us out of Egypt, he gave us law, statutes, commandments, 613 of them. So we must rehearse these law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability. And that's what John is saying. 2 John chapter 1, verse 6. And this is love. And we just read in 1 John, is rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments is showing the Most High that you love him. And so it's in 2 John and 1, verse 6, he says, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. That's love, man. Walking in life. Because the commandments is life. And walking in the light. The commandments is the light unto your path. So that's love. Walking in his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye shall walk in them. So the law, statutes, and commandments are not done away with, and the prophets knew it. That's why they wrote about it. That's what the epistles is about. It's about rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments. All right. So let's go back to Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. I'm gonna start over. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So when you rehearsing these laws, statutes, and commandments, you begin to come to life. Because when the Bible tells you, when Yahweh, the Most High, blew into Adam's nostril, he became a living soul, because that breath represents what? The law, statutes, and commandments. He gave him law, statutes, and commandments. And so that allowed Adam to become a living soul. That's how Adam knew what to do, because the Most High blew into his nostrils. And so that's what the Most High is doing to us today. He's breathing into our nostrils. He's giving us the law, statutes, commandments. He's giving us life. But if you're not rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments, you are dead. You are dead men walking. You know, that's what the valley of the shadow, that's what the valley of the shadow of bones is about. You know, the bones that's in the valley. That's what there's about. It's a bunch of bones. That's what's out here in America. A bunch of bones. That's what's in Christianity. Islam. Nothing but dead bodies. It's nothing but a bunch of bones. Nobody is rehearsing the law, statutes, commandments. Nobody's calling on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So none of them has life. You don't have life because you're not rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments. You don't have love because you're not rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments. All right, let's go to Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus is in the Apocrypha, or some call it Sirach. And let's go to chapter 17, and verse 10. And it reads, and the elect shall praise his holy name. And the elect is you so-called Negroes, is 1/3 and the 144,000 of Israel, or you so-called Negroes. We're going to be the only ones that's out here praising the Most High's holy name. You know, ain't that many people out here calling on Yahweh in his son's name, Yahweh Shai. Only the elect and the chosen of Israel is doing that. Only the elect and the chosen of Israel is wanting to rehearse these laws, statutes, commandments. Verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an inheritance. So the Bible says that the Most High gave us knowledge and the law of life for an inheritance. So what's the law of life? The law of life. The law of life is this word. It's rehearsing these laws, statutes, commandments. Now that's our inheritance. This is an inheritance that was left from our forefathers. All these prophets, the book of Moses, the book of 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, them are our forefathers. Obadiah, Micah, Malachi, Tobit, Ezra, them are our forefathers. And they left us this inheritance. And we should be rehearsing these laws, statutes, commandments. That's our inheritance, man. That's the only thing we have is this word. And so we should be rehearsing these laws, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability. It's lucky. All right, let me see. Let's continue to go on. Let me read a little bit more of this. Ecclesiastes chapter 17, verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge, and that's knowledge of him. The Most High only gave us the knowledge of him. Nobody else have the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the 12 tribes, the lost 12 tribes of the house of Israel. We the only one have knowledge of the Most High. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me go to Amos. Let me show you that we the only one that have knowledge of him. I ain't gonna go to Amos. Let me go to. I am gonna go to Amos. Let me go here first. Let me go to Psalms 147, I believe, and 19. And it says, and the Bible says, verse 19, Psalms 147, verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his commandments unto Israel. Verse 20. He had not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh. So the Most High only gave his law, statutes, commandments, his word unto you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the 12 tribes of the house of Israel. All right, and we can go to Amos as well. Amos will show you that he doesn't deal with none of these pastors or none of these false prophets. You cannot teach the word or understand his word if you're not a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or a Native American. Because we are the chosen people. We are the Hebrew Israelites. We're the only one that can understand his word, and we're the only one that the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is giving his word unto. And Amos get ready to show you that. Amos 3 and 7. And it reads, surely Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. He only give his secrets to the servants, his prophets. And the only prophets that ever came, matter of fact, I'll show you. Let me show you who the prophets are. Because you got some people out there that say Muhammad was a prophet. Because you got somebody out there that say anybody can be a prophet from the Most High. I'm going to show you that you got to be from one of the 12 tribes to be a prophet. If you're not from one of the 12 tribes, you cannot be a prophet. Let me show you. Give me a second. One second. And that's going to be Amos 2 and 11, matter of fact. I think that's it, Amos 2 and 11. Amos 2 and 11 says, and I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel, said Yahweh? So the Most High said that he only raised up you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be prophets or Nazarites. And then he goes on to say, O ye children of Israel. Then he goes to say, let me read that again. Shoot, the wind keep blowing. Amos chapter 2, verse 11. And I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel, said Yahweh. And what it mean by when it says, is it not even does? He's saying, is this not true? I only raised up prophets of your children, you so-called Negro, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So if you're not a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American, you're not from one of the 12 tribes. You cannot teach this word or understand it. That's why a lot of y'all lost, and a lot of y'all be like, what? That's why we sound like foreign, we speak another language to you, because you've been listening to these heathens, these false prophets from these other nations trying to teach the word. All right? Now, where we at? Okay, let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. Matter of fact, that's all I really want out of Ecclesiasticus. Let's go to Proverbs. That's all I wanted out of Ecclesiastes. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 6 and 23. Proverbs 6 and 23. And it reads, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instructions are the way of life. So the Most High is letting you know that these commandments and laws are a lamp and a light unto your feet or unto your life. So he's saying that you got to walk in these law, statutes, commandments to have life. You know, to be reproved, because the law, statutes, commandment is going to reprove you, man. You know what I'm saying? It's going to build character in you. You know, that's the only way you can be baptized. It's through the word. By receiving this word, that's what's going to take all the impurities out of you. That's what's going to help you from help you stop from eating pork, shrimp, lobster, and crab. Help you stop from trying to deal with another man's woman. It's these law, statutes, commandments. That's what's going to make you want to repent and go back unto the Most High. These law, statutes, commandments is going to show you how to love the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Because the only way you can love him is by rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments. We read that again. Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instructions are the way of life. So if you're not rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments, you know what I'm saying, and walking in them and teaching people to do them, then you don't have a light in your life, and you don't have life in your body. You're just a dead man walking. You are part of the living dead. Matter of fact, let's go, let me see. Let me go back to Baruch. Let's go back to Baruch 4:1 and read some more of that.